This perfectly represents Europe's vision for Ukraine.
And all of Europe should be taking part, and that includes us. I'm not exactly sure I'd be physically fit enough to serve, but I'd be happy to help out in whatever way I could.
Yep, as long as I don't have to do the fighting, which perfectly represents exactly what Europe is doing right now. All of this as Elon Musk just pointed the blame at Ukraine for cyber attacks that are happening against Twitter today. What's really going on here as Poland is preparing for the worst, and other European allies are really muddying the waters as we just had a major update surrounding the Saudi Arabia summit that's going to be happening very soon and could potentially end this larger conflict. Will it end? Well, that's the question that we're going to be asking in this independent media broadcast. As there's so many things happening right now, it's kind of difficult to keep pace with it all. As the latest that we're getting is that Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, just sent an apology letter to Trump, and a lot of people are saying it's a sorry-ish apology letter, as Zelensky, quote, privately expressed regret over his Oval Office clash with Donald Trump, but stopped short of a full apology. I think that's also the perfect representation of what's kind of happening here during these breakdown of peace talks, as he's almost there. He says the right thing, and then he goes back on it. He says, okay, Trump officially in the White House said, you got to apologize for this latest kind of blow up that happened here. He's like, okay, and falls short of just doing it. And if there ever was a time to put your ego aside, to say, you know what, hey, I'll bow my head down. Hey, you guys supported us. You guys financed this. You guys propelled this conflict as much as you did, more than anyone else. I'll let it go. I'll let it go. I'll be the bigger person here. Nope. We don't have that, as we got news from the special envoy describing how Zelensky sent the letter trying to smooth things over ahead of the Saudi Arabia peace talks. But as he reports, the fallout is real, as U.S. military aid and intelligence sharing remains on hold. While that is happening, there are larger Russian offenses that are really creating a very difficult situation for the Ukrainians, as we are getting a lot of reports of just what people are describing as a bloodbath in Kursk. Now, Kursk is the Russian territories that the Ukrainians invaded when they were advised not to do this. In the beginning, they were described as a genius political gambit that changed the face of this conflict. It definitely escalated this conflict, but right now, without U.S. intelligence, they are facing a very difficult situation where they're not able to see where the attack is coming from, as now there's also larger possibilities of not just the long-range missiles not working, but any kind of offensive military actions and maneuvers that they were previously planning on conducting inside of Russia that they no longer can, as now we're finding out that a lot of the Ukrainians are trying to withdraw from Kursk, but are facing a lot of very serious drone attacks that are creating very heavy losses in manpower and equipment. And I've been able to kind of look and verify at some of the clips and some of the videos here, and it does seem like there is a tremendous amount of hardware, equipment, and soldiers that are surrendering. There was also a very surprise attack from one of the gas pipes inside of Russia, where the Russians did a full-on operation, pumping oxygen into a pipeline, sucking out gas from it, and then sending 800 soldiers through it, allowing Russian soldiers to be behind enemy lines and to surprise the Ukrainian army that was not expecting such a huge force of Russian soldiers in their rear. You could say that one once again, as the situation for the Ukrainians is extremely difficult, and I feel for them. It's not only a desertion crisis that they're facing, they're also now facing equipment shortages. They're also now facing their backs up against the wall, and this conflict that they are keeping being goaded in. Who's goading the Europeans the most right now to be in this conflict, to continue this conflict? The Europeans, the French, the British predominantly are some of the biggest kind of escalators, the biggest ish talkers, the biggest people who are saying, yes, let's go. Just like that young man in the UK saying, all of Europe needs to help Ukraine. And then ask, are you going to do it? Nope. We're not going to do it. You want us to do it? The best thing we could do is give you a loan. As the European governments are moving closer and closer towards total totalitarian control over their citizenry. The European Central Bank is now, quote, accelerating the pace to roll out its digital euro, a central bank digital currency, as they are making very aggressive moves against people who believe in conservative right-wing ideas inside of their continent. A lot of people are being arrested. A lot of people are being denied due process. A lot of people are being denied the democratic process, like the people of Romania that just banned a right-wing political figure that was warning about the dangers of globalism and liberalism and communism from being able to be in the upcoming elections, even though he had overwhelming amounts of support and petitions that clearly should have allowed him to run in a free and open country, as Romania looks like it is setting itself to be the next Ukraine here, as we have to remember USAID, CIA, Soros, and other nefarious funding from neoconservative groups alike have been financing the coffers of the corrupted politicians in Ukraine ever since 2006. And then, of course, we had the Maidan Revolution in 2014, as they also did a very similar thing in Poland, where the right-wing government recently lost to the left-wing globalists, as the left-wing globalists were supported by U.S. aid money. I say we should have, a re-election there. I think we should do it once again without the direct involvement of course, the corrupted elements within our society that are destroying it. Now, before talking about Elon Musk blaming the Ukrainians and calling someone a traitor, we wanted to remind people about thebestpoliticalshirts.com, where a lot of the shirts we have here are very timely for this current situation. This is one of the shirts that we have here available to you that I think perfectly represents the situation, and it's called The Reality of War. The shirt that I'm wearing right now saying kids don't belong in the indoctrination system, crossing out school here, is also available on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. If you want to find that one, you just type in kids or school into the search and type in kids here, bada bing, bada boom. The shirt pops up right available to you. Lots of really great shirts that really do spark up some very interesting conversations, help you meet like-minded individuals. They might help you meet your next friend, your next spouse, who knows? But if there's one thing that is very clear, these shirts are very attention-grabbing. These shirts are perfect for any kind of occasion where you want to be a little bit more extroverted. If you're an introvert and you're like, yeah, you know what? Life is short. I really got to make more genuine connections with people. This is the way that I've done it. This is the way that has worked out for me. It might work for you as well. So don't forget to check that out and support this independent media broadcast at the same time. As, of course, back to the Poles here, my fellow countrymen that I am ever so proud to be of origin of, are now starting beef with Elon also regarding Starlink, specifically with Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, now responding to the Polish representative, the Polish government saying that they are making things up about the Polish government paying for Starlink. As right now, Poland is also preparing its citizens for total war readiness, as they are soon going to, of course, be training all young military males to be ready for battle and a full-on conflict. As, of course, there is Russian territory right on the Polish border, and the Polish believe that this is only going to be the beginning of a larger kind of bigger fight here, as we've seen very similar moves made by the Germans a couple months ago, but now the Poles are specifically preparing for power outages. They're preparing for emergency response disasters. They're preparing for war readiness for their civilians, and a large-scale military training for all adult males, which will be launching at the end of this year, ensuring that citizens are battle ready if needed. Yep. As already 900,000 Ukrainian refugees are in Poland, and the situation definitely is getting very serious, as we are finding out that there are still a lot of people in our society that want to see this war continue. One of the biggest kind of warmongers, MSNBC, the news network, went after a lot of prominent anti-war voices, gave them golden handcuffs, silenced voices, individuals like Jesse Ventura, Cenk Uygur. Whenever they spoke against the war when they were on those networks, cut off right away. Cenk has a mixed past, but his past at MSNBC does highlight him actually doing the right thing, actually speaking up. And there are many mainstream, mainline journalists that were censored when, of course, they presented anti-war voices. As, of course, we have the biggest war voices on MSNBC right now that are coming out and saying that Americans are not as American as Ukrainians. Yes, you heard that correctly. Just when you thought the hyperbolic dribble trying to get us into a larger geopolitical conflict wasn't enough, here it is on MSNBC.
They're bombing cities. The Ukrainians are the noble good guys. In some ways, they're more American than we are over the last couple of years. And we must stand with them in the same way we stood with the Allies in World War II and since this country was founded. This is not just about Ukraine. This is about the core and the integrity of American values. And that's what he's also betraying. Not just Ukraine, he's betraying America.
Last time I checked, borscht wasn't a part of American core values here. But again, there's an argument with the Minsk agreements. I understand both sides of the argument here. I have a lot of people that are giving me information about this from Europe. Their perspective is a little bit more skewed here, as they believe we need to be involved here. Donald Trump and his new administration is coming out and saying, we actually don't. This is a big problem that other administrations have created that we will not part in. This is destructive. This war needs to end, as right now we have a bigger escalation of tensions as Elon Musk is directly pinpointing the Ukrainians as the IP address originating from that particular country when it comes to the massive cyber attack that took down Twitter this morning.
We're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area.
Well, so that's your suspicion. Is the website, is the internet up? Is it up yet?
It's up, yeah.
It's up yet. Okay, good.
Now, is it the Ukrainians that actually did this? I mean, it would be absolutely foolish for them to do this now. It's also important to note here, people could hide their IP addresses and spoof IP addresses and make specific IP addresses look like they're coming from a particular place. But does Elon now have some kind of connections to the U.S. national security state that could be giving him some kind of insight to what's happening to his online digital platform that clearly is under attack here? That's a question that, of course, we will be waiting to get answered here. But I would bet that if this administration and if Elon Musk has actual proof that the Ukrainians are doing this, that they would come forward with this at this very key, important time. I just don't see the Ukrainians doing this. Maybe there's some kind of third party. Maybe there's some kind of larger cyber false flag happening here. What's really happening here? I just don't see it. But at the same time, the Ukrainians have made a lot of very wild moves here throughout this entire endeavor, specifically blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, blowing up the Crimea Bridge, going after journalists and media pundits inside of Moscow, doing direct assassination attempts and assassinations on them. It wouldn't be out of their playbook because their playbook is just the CIA playbook. It is a wild playbook. It is a crazy playbook. And there are potentially concerted efforts by some people that are trying to, of course, escalate these larger situations. As Elon Musk also came out and called U.S. Senator Mark Kelly a traitor today on a post on Twitter, where Mark Kelly just described his visit to Ukraine over the weekend and how we as the country need to get involved and we need to, of course, support them no matter what and to give them all of the weapons and all of the intelligence here that we possibly can, as a lot of people are criticizing Elon Musk's response here. And some people are saying, well, a lot of people are just sick of this kind of not thinking about America first policy. And some people agree with him, some people disagree with him, but I wanted to leave the question with you. Do you agree with him or do you disagree with him? All of this is still happening as the White House is trying to get control of their intel agencies, as it's pretty clear, especially without the disclosures of the JFK, the MLK, the RFK, the Epstein files, that they still don't have them under their reign, as even today, Tulsi Gabbard just revoked security clearances for Anthony Blinken, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, Jake Sullivan, and all these other type of very bad, sinister, deep state kind of players there that no longer will be getting their briefings and intel data shared to them. So clearly, this administration is cleaning house here. Clearly, this administration has their priorities, considering the United States first over anyone else. And we're going to see, I think, a little bit more fireworks here. And it's just crazy. I mean, from everything I'm seeing, Trump is trying to do maximum pressure against the Russians, against the Ukrainians. He's saying that the Ukrainians are the most difficult to deal with here to at least create a ceasefire. That needs to happen. I don't understand what's going on, other than just maybe perpetual human sacrifice. But with the losses that they're sustaining, the drone attacks, the conscriptions, the desertions, the lack of resources here, Europe talking two ways out of their mouths, promising and not delivering anything. We're seeing a situation that isn't good for the people of Ukraine. I hope it changes. I hope there are concessions made. I hope there is peace made. I hope both parties come to the negotiation table. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. Get a shirt on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more All Here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.